Well, hello. We are going to weld on the Comet today. I got a bunch of work done. Ended up getting that driver's side floor buttoned up the rest of the way. I'll show you it more in depth here in a minute. Got a bunch of cutting done on the passenger floor, as you can see. Got a couple of trims to make. I'm going to trim out this corner here. I don't know why I didn't before, but apparently I didn't. Anyways, I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to even this out here. You can see it's kind of bent down here, and there's, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a hole there, and I can see it if I get my finger out of the way. So I'm going to trim that up to where it's flat, and you can see got this trimmed up pretty good. There's still a little bit of rust in here. I got probably 85% of it knocked out. The rest of this is just coating. May straighten this up a little bit, but I'm thinking I might leave it to give me a reference for the curve of the floor. And yeah, you can see I cut it up to there. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna go start cutting some pieces and get on that. So I think I'm gonna see if I have any degreaser left. I hit it with some degreaser and some water. I got a brush around here somewhere. Whatever I did with it. My son probably grabbed it and put it in a safe place for me. Pretty much guarantee that that's what happened, but you know, can only be expected when you have a 3-year-old. Where the devil is it? I'm just as prepared as usual today, so that's good. At least I'm consistent. Huh. Yep. I have no idea where that is. I just found it. You don't know where it is. So, this is the table you're sitting on. It's right there. Okay. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because if you don't know, when you weld, it kind of makes fire, and oil and fire. I've set that car on fire a couple of times already. I'm forgetting to do this, so let's try not to do that today. I should probably take it over here, huh? There. Now you're happy. Alright. Now I got that out of the way. Let's go ahead and take some measurements and see what we come up with, and then we'll start cutting some pieces. So which piece should we do first? I vote the back, so I have something to stand on, or rather squat on, to get to the front. I like that idea. Let's see what we got here. So I'm gonna cut this out first. This is gonna be a separate piece, because I gotta bend this back here in a minute. It's got a little crease in it right there from something. So let's just go from here to here. See approximately what that is. I'm gonna cut it big and then we'll trim it. So 18. Gotta remember, I gotta keep this low. Okay. So 18 and yeah, 18 by, let's say 13. Because I want to do, no, not by 13, that's going to be separate. This is a fun part about scrapping your own stuff together, is you got to account for all the drops and whatnot. Like here, I tried to keep it, but it was just so rotted I couldn't. So I'm going to straighten this out and make a straight line here so I can make a drop to here. So actually I'm going to leave this for reference for the moment. Start with that. At least that'll give us something that we can essentially tack in, because this is right on the level of where it starts coming across. So as long as we keep it touching here, we should be okay. Yeah, you can watch. I'll turn this around. There we go. Alright. So, before you all say anything about, you know, real men don't use safety glasses and earplugs and gloves and all the rest, I'll have you know, I have a bunch of shrapnel all through this arm and the side of my chest, and took the whole whole corner of my thumb knuckle off because of a grinder wheel exploding on me a couple of years ago for no reason other than it was cheap. So you know what? I'm putting on the gloves, okay? And the glasses. And I'm nearly deaf as it is, so I'm using earplugs. I'd like to be able to hear my kids call my name for at least a couple of more years. Okay. Alright. Somebody needs to come out here and clean up all this junk. I'm tired of looking at it. So what did I say? 94 by 14? Right. Something to go off of. Alright. Let's go down first. How about that? That's kind of a shame. No well. That's not too bad. That's pretty straight. Let's see what we got. Let's see if I know how to cut a straight line. My vote is no. So let me know what you guys think. Okay, got it. Awfully close. You know about that 11 part we were talking about? And how I was going to cut this out? Yeah, that's 9. That's okay. Honestly, well, let's trim the rest side of this out a little bit. I'm back. Okay. Oh, for crying out loud. All right. Look at that. Triple layers. Okay. I didn't even know they did that. Shows you what I know. Not a whole heck of a lot. Okay. It's pretty close. We'll clean up this corner. A little bit. Pretty darn close right there. Yep. I think we nailed it. Okay. Okay, that'll work. All right. Now we can keep welding. be sure to not stick my arm in this. By the way, been meaning to tell you guys. Ow! There's a fire under me. Sheesh. Burn all the hair off my arm. Anyways, I was gonna say, this whole channel, basically the point of this channel is to show you what a normal guy on a single income with young kids, limited time, extremely limited budget, and being able to keep a good balance between family life and hot rodding. That welder cost me less than $100 on a Harbor Freight parking lot sale like they have every few months. Cost me less than $100. This also was about $40. Also, excuse me, on a parking lot sale. Extension cord was $15 at Ace. I got the cheapest one they had. I found both these containment seats on Facebook for $75. The wheels that this car is on were $100. The block was free, and I know most of y'all have to go to a junkyard or something to get a motor. And besides that motor, that's where I've always gone, as a junkyard. So this is my first project. I found this Comet for $500. I think I already mentioned that. Didn't roll, was totally locked up, absolutely disgusting. It's still pretty gross. Floor is gone, no title, all the rest. No VIN even, for that matter, so I have to get it inspected. But my point is, you know, you don't have to have a lot of money to do this. You really don't. I'm into this whole thing over the last year, maybe $1,500. You know, I went to an auction, I bought a bunch of motors and transmissions, literally spent all of my rent a week before rent was due, which I'm not advising. That was a pretty poor decision. But I was able to turn around. I had 13 blocks, couple transmissions, 35 cams. I mean, I really lucked out. And I was able to sell one motor and trans for what it cost me to have my whole small block redone, and new pistons, rings, bearings, all the rest of that. And the rest of it is just selling off little things here and there, saving some money, you know, working on the weekends here and there to get the extra money to be able to piece this thing together. It's taken me a while, but I mean, if you could have seen this car when I first started, you would not believe, as much of a pile of junk as it is right now, it was 10 times worse than it is now. But if you can swing it and you make the right connections and the right friends, and those friends have friends, and this guy might have a part and that guy might have a part, and you trade stuff and you barter, you can make it come together. You can realize your dream without having to spend half your mortgage on, you know, buying something that's all fancy and nice. I know this thing is completely scabs together, and that's why I love it. I'm doing this with nothing. I'm doing this with my bare hands and very little money invested. And hopefully, this year, I'll be on the drag strip. It's been a lifelong dream since I was 12 years old. I've wanted to race, and I've never had the chance, and I finally decided I better do it now, otherwise it's going to be another 30 years. So, there's my little heart-to-heart with you. Go out and just start, just a piece at a time. An hour a night if you can swing it, half an hour a night, you know? But you can do it. And this thing is going to rip. Absolutely rip. I can't tell you how excited I am. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you all for hanging out. And let's keep welding, because that thing is just sitting there on running my electricity bill through the roof. So I'm going to finish welding this up, and it's just about dark. I know it probably doesn't look like it there, but it is. And kids are ready for bed, so yep. Where's my hammer? There it is. By the way, I've never even attempted to do something like this. This is all brand new to me. I have no idea what I'm doing. Nobody showed me. Nobody told me. This was my own idea. As far as I've found, no one has used an oil drum to do this. Nobody on YouTube, nobody that I've talked to. But you know what? It may be a drop thicker than your regular floor, but who cares? It gets it together. It's free. It's not hard. It's a little bit time consuming, but again, it's free. You can do it. Just find what works and go to town, man. And for those of you that don't know how to weld, it's literally that easy. Put a spool in it, put your ground on close to where you're welding, pretend, you know, preferably, and then, you know, and it makes fire. It's easy. The grinder will be your best friend for a while, but you know what? Who cares? It gets done. It's welded. It's strong. It'll stay together. Clean it up with the grinder. Call it good. No one will ever know. Don't be afraid of welding. It's really quite easy. To be skilled at it, yeah, it'll take you some practice. But just to weld, it's easy. Don't be scared. That's it for tonight. Gotta go eat some dinner. Say goodnight to the chitlins. Read them a story. And go to bed so that I can get up at 5 and go back to work. Let me show you this finished product. My gosh. Finished product. Usually I'm a much better welder than this, but I don't mind telling you. I don't know if it's a ground or what, but it's not great. But like I said, a little grinder and nobody will ever know the difference. It's a beautiful night. I guess my whole point of that entire story was I've known so many people that bought projects that were fairly rough, you know. They needed some work. Not this rough, but probably about half as rough as this is. And they let themselves get totally overwhelmed and scared of, my gosh, this camera will not. There. I got one of those magnetic mounts, and my gosh, that thing is aggressive. Anyways, they buy these projects and get all excited, and then they get totally discouraged and afraid to tackle it, you know, because it seems overwhelming. And trust me, I get it. It is. It absolutely is. It took me probably 2 months after I bought this just to cut the floors out, and then I was scared to death for like a couple of weeks before I decided if I don't do it, nobody will, and it'll sit here forever, and I'll be like so many people that I know that are in the middle of a project or started working on a project and got in over their head and just stopped because it overwhelmed them too much. And I just decided I wasn't gonna do it, and I was gonna make it work. I was gonna figure it out one way or another, and that's how you gotta do this so much, especially in today's age where everything is so expensive and it's so few people do it anymore. There's not a lot of people with the knowledge left to even give you pointers. It's kind of sad. Someday this stuff will be gone, probably in my lifetime. That's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for my kids and for me, to give them the experience before we're all driving electric cars in 15-minute cities. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing on this or I'm gonna get demonetized. It's a lot of fun. It's a good hobby. It's healthy. It keeps you out of trouble. And man, you can do it. You can. Just get out there and get to town. Even if all you do is wash it and look at it, that's something, you know? Then maybe the next day decide to take the interior out. It's intimidating, it looks scary. It does. But you can always put it back in. It's not complicated. I guess it just comes down to how bad do you want it and what are you willing to do to get it. If you want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way. So, that's the whole spiel for this channel. This is what we're doing. This is what I'm doing. We're putting this thing together and we're gonna go race. And if everything goes well, it'll be this year and you'll be right there with me. So just hang on, bear with me, let me get through this, and we're gonna be smoking tires, boys and girls, or girl. Can't tell how many of you there are. So yeah, get out there and work on your projects. Get it done. Start tearing it apart. Have some fun. Dive in over your head. And then put it back together and go race. Or do whatever you want to do. Someday this thing is getting restored. It really is. There is only a handful of these 66, 67 Comets left. I'm racing it for now just because it's the only thing I've got that's this rough. That, you know, it makes a good candidate. So I'm gonna race it for a few years, and then if life calms down and the economy comes back, this thing is absolutely getting restored for my son. That's half the reason I bought it. More than half. Most of the reason. Well, I'm tired. It's getting late, and I'm rambling. So y'all have a good night. Go work on your projects, and I'll see you tomorrow. Alright. So, it's 2 days later. But we made a lot of progress in between times. I'll show you what I've got going on here. So we've got the back all done, aside from, you know, that hole and some grinding. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. I still got to make a plate to cover this right here all the way down, and obviously fix that. And this. And then I have this strip here. Gotta make something that comes up and over here is how it's gotta lay. So I've gotta make some sort of an L in here. But as you can see, we've got this just kind of stitched for now until I can get in here and actually fill it properly. And then hopefully do something like this. But the other problem I'm running into is that's what's left in my barrel. That's it. My whole barrel's gone. So maybe having to try something else as far as finishing up this this floor. Gotta find some different metal somewhere. Might have to go back to Napa and talk to Sean, see if I can get another barrel to finish this up, because that little piece right there and those two pieces and a couple of little tiny scraps like that, that's not gonna finish this. I can do this piece right here and get that in, probably down to here, and make that fit and tie in. And then I've got to come up with this whole deal. I have to pull this up a little bit. Suck it in over there with the dead blow, tighten it up a little. And then this is gonna be fun, making something come up and over. Not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that part yet. Honestly, don't really know where to start right now. I was making a lot of good progress last night, and now it's down to this cut and fit every little tiny piece. So yeah, I'm not totally sure how I'm gonna do that, but give me just a minute here, and I'm gonna throw you on a time lapse, and we'll get going. See you in a minute. So we've got those guys in. I know it doesn't look that great, but once I hit it with the grinder and finish welding it up and clean it up, it'll look just fine. This guy here, I'm going to finish cutting this line, and then I will show you how we're going to fit this piece into there. Now, mind you, this whole car, or at least the floors and whatnot here, I have made with nothing but a grinder, a vice grip, a pair of crescents, and a dead blow framing hammer, and the neck on my engine hoist to make bends. And that's it. So just basic hand tools. You can have something that looks as bad as this if you're really in a pinch. Let me cut this in, I'll get back with you in a second. Gotta move my thumb over. So, literally all I did to make this, for this bend, is I took a piece, just like this, set it here, flattened it out, scooted it up until it was just right, and then you just take the hammer and bend it to the shape of the tunnel, and you end up with something like that. And then you just trim it up and keep test fitting in between. Make sure all your bends and everything else is right. Oh, almost lost it. And pretty soon you end up with a piece that fits pretty dang decent. Looks like I'm still going to have to trim this a little bit. Let's see. I have to take this corner off here. is a very, very time-consuming way to do this, but it is pretty effective, and I mean, for what it is, it's not horrible. It's by no means good, or probably even okay, but it holds the car together, and you know, saves you a ton of money. If you've got the money, by all means do it. I could do it, but I don't want to. I'd just as soon build my own for now and save my money for motor stuff. Still gotta do some trimming right here. Pretty soon it'll be just far enough one downside to this is you end up with a lot of bridges if you don't get the cut just right. And I mean, there's no way you would rebuild this whole thing just because it didn't fit perfectly square. So it does look a little, you know, rough, but again, it's all gonna be covered, and I'm the only one that's gonna know. Okay, I'm gonna put you guys back on a time lapse. There's gonna be lots of cutting for a few minutes. Alright, so we got that guy in there. There's lots of gaps, but all the big pieces are in. The only one I got left to make is this guy right here in this corner, that little guy, and some filling in. That's not showing up very well, but a couple spots right there, that hole, and other than that, it's just filling gaps like that. Here's the driver's side. It's pretty well done. Got a couple of things to trim out still and fill in, but yeah, it's coming together. Phew, I'm exhausted. It's getting late. It's probably about 9 o'clock right now. I'm gonna go eat, and we'll try to get back on this bright and early in the morning, if at all possible. Get a couple of things taken care of tomorrow, and floors should be done. I'm getting the last of my bolt kits and main girdle and cam and springs and all the rest for the small block. I was going to do the big block, but I've run into a lot of problems with it. It's been delayed, so for the moment I'm just going to throw the small block in it. I have basically everything ready to go for that. I just need to assemble it and plop a tranny in this guy, and you know, it'll be faster this way too, because I can actually buy small block motor mounts that will go right in here, whereas with the big block I got to put universal stuff in, and without a gantry, I mean I do have an engine puller, but that's a lot of in and out and in and out and in and out, especially to do on gravel by myself. That's a ton of work. I'll be at it for 3 weeks before I get it exactly where I want it. So like I said, for the moment we're gonna do small block and, you know, just get it running, doing some burnouts, hopefully get it to the track. And then next year, or not next year, but well, we'll see. We'll see how much I like it with the small block. But if this does not get the small block, or the big block when it's done, then I'll just put the big block in the Mustang, and, you know, we'll go from there. Or who knows, maybe I'll put the small block in the Mustang and put the big block in this, or not back. Pull the small block back out and put the big block in it when it's all ready to go. We'll see. I'm not sure exactly how that's gonna work yet. We're just going with what we got. It'll be much easier and faster to put the 302 in this for the moment. Either way, I'm going to eat. I might come back out and do some more on this tonight. I'm not quite sure yet. But either way, yeah, we're done for this video. Hope you all have a good night, and get out there and get working on your cars. Have some fun.